Madison. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. I share my recovery journey from my eating disorder and my life on this channel. So make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and turn on post notifications so you never miss an upload. How many times have I started a video where I'm out of breath? I upload twice a week, so stay tuned. Anyway, for today's video, I decided to do something a little bit more chill and talk about this because this is something that I wasn't really... It didn't make sense to me at first when I first started recovery, and a lot of people asked me about it, and so I thought I would talk about it. And that is the factor and the subject of numbers in recovery. Okay. So, what do I exactly mean by like numbers in recovery? So, I mean like calorie counting, weight, like a set weight goal, weight restoration specific number, BMI, anything like that regarding numbers. So, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I think a lot of people go through different phases of recovery when they're recovering from an eating disorder. Some people go through phases where they have to count their calories because they have to make sure they're getting a certain number of calories in. Some people have to go through a part of recovery where they have to weight restore, and so they're getting their weight monitored by someone, and they have like a goal range to get themselves to so that they can be considered healthy again. And that's all important, and it's all different for everybody. And some people don't have to go through any of that. Some people, that stuff is very damaging because they were already doing that, and they were already relying so much on the numbers that they have to go away from them. And so I think that counting calories and having a weight restoration set weight goal range is important to a point. But I think that if a medical professional hasn't told you that you need to count your calories to make sure you're getting a certain number of calories, or if they haven't told you that you need to make sure you have X amount of calories each day to weight restore or to get yourself back to fueling your body correctly, if no one professional on your treatment team or whatever has told you that, don't do it. Because even if you didn't have a disordered relationship with counting calories to begin with, you will develop one. Because as humans, excessiveness in them, and so when you start counting your calories, even though it starts out for a good thing, it's gonna most likely turn into a bad thing because you're gonna be like, well, I didn't eat as much yesterday, so I can't eat as much today, and it's just gonna keep getting worse, and it's gonna become a bigger problem than what you had before. And so if no one's told you to do it, that's my number one. If no one's told you to specifically count your calories or that you need to eat X number of calories a day to refuel your body a healthy way, don't do it. So, calorie counting, I personally don't think calorie counting helps you in recovery at all. My nutritionist, dietitian, never told me to count my calories. Never told me that I needed to eat X amount of calories a day. Every time I would ask her, I'd be like, okay, what does that look like in caloric form? She said, that's not important. She's like, what's important is she would use fists or... Yeah, she would use fists. So she's like, you need 3 fists of this, 2 fists of this, 1 fist of this at each meal. And basically, that's what she meant and stuff like that. And so she never used calories. She used fists, measurements, amounts. I would send her pictures and she would tell me if it looks like it's enough. If it's not enough, she'd make me add more. And so that's the thing. I don't think calorie counting is effective at all. But I'm also not a dietitian, so maybe it is for some people really need that structure, but I don't think it is. But my number one with numbers in recovery is don't do it unless you're told. Number 2, when it comes to a weight restoration goal, if you are in that point of recovery where you have to weight restore, if you are in an eating disorder where you are very significantly underweight and you have to weight restore, yes, it's important to monitor your weight, but I don't think you should do it yourself. And I've talked about that before. Go to a medical professional, whether it's your doctor, a dietitian. Hopefully you're seeing someone that treats eating disorders if you're struggling with this. have them monitor it, because it's so much more helpful when you don't know what the number is, and if you don't know if it's going up or down. So much more helpful, because even if you're like, no, I want to know, because for a while your girl was like, no, I think it'll be really helpful for me to know if it went up or down. It did not help, because at first knowing it was like not changing, and then all of a sudden I went up a bunch of weight and I flipped out. My disorder went, what the heck is wrong with you? You got to do all these things to make up for it. And so then I was like, okay, nope, this doesn't work anymore. I don't like this. I just like don't want to know it all. And so I really don't think you should know. Have someone monitor it blind. You don't need to know. Now, as for like a weight restoration goal, this is hard because yes, if you're trying to restore weight, usually who you work with will give you kind of like a range based on your previous growth pattern. But it's hard for dietitians or doctors to tell you this is your healthy weight, this is going to be your set point weight, this is a natural weight for you, because everybody's body's different and everybody's body sits at a different place. So even if a specific number is healthy for a 17-year-old female who's 5 foot something, even if that's considered a healthy weight, it might not be considered healthy for you because your body might need more food. And so that's also why a lot of people that work with eating disorder specialists and some doctors are starting to shy away from BMI, because it's not an accurate representation of your health, because it's so outdated that like you could be the fittest person and for your height and your age it'll say you're overweight. That's what it is for my nutritionist. She's fit, she's beautiful, and she is considered overweight for her age, and she's not overweight, because where she is where her body needs to be, because that's where she sits without restricting or anything. 'Cause she was like, if I fit into a healthy BMI range, like the old outdated BMI scale says, I would be underfeeding my body and I'd have to restrict. And so yes, you'll have you might be given like a range of like give or take 5 or 10 pounds that you'll be in, but it's really hard for them to pinpoint an exact weight. So my advice is don't get so set on that specific number you have to be at, because first of all, weight is not everything. Second of all, they physically can't tell you you're going to be this much and that'll be your weight set point. They can't tell you that. And if they tell you that, they're just making up stuff, because they literally can't tell you that, because everybody's body is so different, and they're not going to know your weight set point until you are done with all disordered behaviors. You have fully have freedom with food, body, movement, all that, and your weight has stayed the same through all of that, and you're not underfeeding, whatever, you're just eating and living life. That is where, and wherever your weight is at that point is your set point. Because eventually, when you're weight restoring or whatever, your body will stop gaining weight and it'll just sit at a place, because it has a natural sitting place, a natural set point. And I've talked about how it's not going to screw you over, because it's not. It has a natural place that it's going to stay at without restricting, without over-exercising, without feeling like you can't eat certain foods. Like, you're not going to get to that point until you have total freedom of everything. And so don't get focused. That my third thing is to not get focused so much on a number, because it's really impossible to know what exactly you are going to weigh or be at the end of your recovery journey, because first of all, weight is not everything. Your worth is so much more than a number. And recovery in life is so much more than a number. No one cares about your weight. And if they do, they're not your real friends. Because if they really care about that number or what size you wear, there's something wrong with them too. So like, if they don't care, you shouldn't care. And so don't get so fixated. And that's something my dietitian, I always say nutritionist, and I mean to say dietitian, has told me over and over again when I like start to get like in my head about it. She's like, weight is not everything. She's like, there is so much more you have to work on inside of you that'll get better, that your weight is not everything. And it just like, I just have to keep reminding myself that because it's so true. And so, yeah. So those are three things I really wanted to talk about. I know this video is kind of all over the place. I hope it made sense. If you guys liked it, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you check out my previous video down below. And if you have any more questions about any of these things I mentioned, comment down below, message me on Instagram, whatever. Feel free to ask me anything about this, or just anything at all about recovery, life, whatever. And make sure you check out all my socials down below and follow me on Instagram at Madison Parmenter. And I will see you guys very soon in another wonderful video. Stay awesome, stay beautiful, stay strong, and know that you are worth so much more than a teeny tiny whatever your number is. Size, number, look, weight, shape. You're so much more than that, my queens. Bye!